The following may contain language that is not suitable for all audiences. You really suck at that.
Thanks.
It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to practice.
Here, let me try it.
Nice.
You're such a liar.
So what you're saying is you mastered it then?
I don't know if I mastered it, but I do know that seems like some weird stuff's been going on, huh? What?
Since we last did a podcast?
Yeah.
It's been a while since we recorded, so...
I just think it's funny how there are people that... it's just weird. You know, when I get bored, I go hunting for podcasts to listen to.
The weird podcasts.
Well, I don't think that they're that weird. I mean, I can't listen to a 3-hour one. So Joe Rogan's out, Alex Jones is out.
I've never listened to Alex Jones.
He's kind of out there.
He's kind of off the reservation, right?
I don't know that he was ever on the reservation, but he sure does hawk a lot of supplements.
Oh, he does?
Well, that's how
we have to.
That's how he gets paid. That's how he's monetizing his stuff.
That would be the worst thing about blowing up.
What?
Is that you would have to be like having a conversation and be like, now let me tell you about blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you about the penis enhancing supplement.
Wow, that's kind of strange.
That I went to penis enhancing?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You got some confidence issues there?
No.
I don't know, man.
Shut up. Dave's being a dick today, by the way.
Are you talking to him? There's nobody here but me.
Okay, you're being a dick today.
What is this fascination of yours with penises?
I don't know, bro.
That's, Is there something you want to tell me?
No. You got problems.
I'm not the one talking about penises and penis pills and, I mean, you know, when I think of supplements, I think of like vitamins and stuff. You're going off of...
I don't know why, it just popped into my head.
I think you have a weird fixation there, bro.
Whatever, dude.
But anyway, like have you been keeping track of?
No, man. I have gone full boat, not listening to the news, not watching the news, and 2 weeks. I don't know if that's good or bad.
But you know everything that's going on.
A little bit. I know that there was some stuff that went on in Washington, and that there were a bunch of politicians who were talking about it being a terrible day in the history of the country and yada yada yada. And I know that some people got into the Capitol pretty easily. Some demonstrators, and I know that they're trying to do another impeachment.
Oh no, they've already got it.
It's done?
They got the vote, yeah.
They're going to impeach Trump?
Supposedly.
Wow. So I really am not following stuff. I just figured there wouldn't be a vote.
Well, the Congress votes to do it. The House of Reps, the Senate votes whether or not guilty.
And they've got the votes.
I don't know if they got votes to say he's guilty or not, but I get really bored pretty easy, so I'm not really doing the play-by-play stuff. But and plus I don't really I don't know, man. It's like there's so much investment
from everybody
to have. Well, from the people in the establishment to have the rest of the sheep and goats like us really kind of buy into stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to buy in.
I don't think it really matters whether a few people do or don't.
You mean as long as the majority buys in, then...
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter?
Because people, it seems that people are just really into their own survival, which is not something that I'm poo-pooing. But I just think it's kind of weird that there's. I always thought it was kind of weird that there was only two political parties here.
Always.
Yeah. They might have been under different names, but there's always been two.
Well, that's a lot of places, though, isn't it? I mean...
Well, the only reason why I think it's weird is because there's always more sides than two. And even within the two, there are little factions within the two.
So why isn't there more parties?
I mean, I think there could reasonably be more parties, and people just and the parties kind of get together to be the majority or whatnot. I mean, we're not really a first past the post place like England.
Right.
Or are we? Yeah, because the majority gets all the choice committees. They get all the leadership positions in the committees. The majority party usually gets the House speakership, which really dictates the agenda.
New Zealand used to be first past the post, and then they went to something called mixed member proportional representation, and
Like Italy.
it's a shit show now.
Well, Italy was like proportional. From what I can recall, Italy, you don't vote for somebody, you vote for a party.
Mm-hmm.
And then according to the number of votes they get or whatever, the percentage of the votes they get a percentage of the seats.
Yeah, New Zealand's like that.
And the parties pick who
They
is.
pick the big posts and stuff. Yeah, New Zealand's like that, and now one party usually doesn't get enough of the votes to make up the majority, so the small parties have
a bigger voice, which I don't think is a bad thing necessarily.
So they have to kind of make deals. You know, they have to make deals with whatever party has the other votes and be like, okay, we'll join you. And
well, that's politics in general. And the thing that I used to always hate about the politicians is that, you know, they act like, well, in this most recent go around, the big thing that's on the non, I don't know even what to call it, like the non-corporate media.
Is there such a thing? I suppose there is.
Well, sure. All the people that have their little channels that are, well, like Alex Jones and, you know, that get money, or there's one out of Canada. I got really bored and I started listening to, just looking for stuff to listen to while I'm playing my little solitaire games. And the Canadian one was kind of funny too. And I forget what they're called, like the Right News or something.
Podcast?
No, they're just actually trying to be like a news channel, but they're probably listener supported as well.
There's Newsmax here.
Which is, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. But a lot of the stuff that goes on because depending on, like for those politicians, man, depending on which side the quote unquote protesters are, right? So when all the stuff was going on this summer, all the politicians and all the activists and all whatnot were, you know, talking about Martin Luther King and something to the effect of like protest is the vehicle for the voiceless, the people that aren't being heard, going off on how, like, you know, protests aren't supposed to be, you know, they can be violent, they're not supposed to make you feel comfortable, you know, and all that. And then cut to something happens now, or most recently, and now it's like, oh, they're insurrectionists and, you know, all this stuff going on. I was like, I don't see that big of a difference, except that you don't approve of the people this time around.
That's the only difference. It was just weird. The whole thing in Washington was weird because there were people that were there. You know, I saw some posts on social media from people who were there saying that, you know, it's the usual, you know, 99% of the people there, it was like peaceful protests, and then there was this like small group that did all the stuff, right?
That's generally the way it is.
And now they're painting everybody that was there like they were all like that group.
Well, one thing that I was listening to is some people are trying to say that that they're trying to silence the bunch and using Donald Trump as the representative, and admittedly, I think the people that rallied around Donald Trump were people that were really ready to go off the reservation anyway. Like, they were kind of done with it. People that wouldn't get it involved. I mean, there's tons of people that don't vote or, you know, even trust what's going on. And I don't know where I'm going with that.
Wait, but I think probably like a lot of the people there that went to the demonstration, they probably were people that voted. I think the majority were probably people that voted. that went and demonstrated.
I'm not saying that they didn't vote. I'm just saying that there's a big swath of people that are kind of fed up with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They were kind of hopeful that this guy would kind of help them out, and I guess he did. But it wasn't like I'm hesitant to call any of those people, any of the politicians, leaders. I mean, they're definitely folks that various interests rally around. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've always been the type that's just not really for any type of the establishment. But the establishment, I don't know if they are necessary or they aren't. They do exist, and they do run things, so to speak. And so, like, I was always growing up kind of surprised when, with the two-party thing, like, telling people if you don't vote, then there would be all kinds of people that were just shocked. They're like, oh, why would you waste your vote on a third party or whatnot? And I'm just like, why would you pick a side if that side is not representative of what you want? I mean, are you hoping that if you pick somebody or pick a side, then that side will decide that they owe you something?
Well, that's always what people say. They're like, well, you have to vote and you have to... People will say that. They'll say, oh, you have to... They're like, you got to vote for somebody that can win, right? Because otherwise, if you're voting for some third party, it's just a wasted vote in the two-party system.
Well, definitely. I mean, you can definitely split a vote, but I'm just... The way a lot of stuff goes is just kind of strange. Like, because a friend of ours said a long time ago, what have the conservatives conserved? And I would add, what have the progressives progressed?
Well, there have been some things that have come out of the progressive movement, haven't there? But like unions and workers' rights, and I mean, there's been some stuff that you could say that has come out of the progressive movement. Well, when you say progressive, you mean the left, right?
No, I just mean actual progressives. I don't even know what progressive means. I mean, this is a big continuation of what we've been saying a lot. But a lot of the time, I don't understand what anything means anymore.
Well, when people say the establishment, I'm always wondering who that is.
People in power is what I would describe them as.
So everybody in power is the establishment?
Yeah. And the only thing that they're really interested in doing is keeping a hold of their own power. And I don't fault them for it. I can blame them for stuff and talk all kinds of trash about them. But, if I get a taste of power, can I keep doing? Can I do what the legendary, almost mythical Cincinnatus did? I don't know.
Oh, Cincinnatus, we've talked about him before. The guy that actually gave up power.
And let's be for real here. I don't think he was just some schmo out there. It's not like he was the Roman equivalent of a sharecropper or a truck driver. Right?
Cincinnatus was a powerful dude.
They made him the consul.
So he was probably establishment then.
He was probably in a established or patrician family, yeah.
Patricians? They were the voting class?
They were the ruling class. I mean, I don't think Cincinnatus was some slave hoeing a row of corn or whatever it is they grew back then, and they said, hey, you, lead this army. And he was like, okay.
No.
So,
But that would mean he was an establishment guy that gave up power.
Well, that's kind of what we think of George Washington as.
Right.
He was the first president. I think he got a unanimous vote. He was the president for 2 terms and said, okay, now I quit. I'm going to go back to my plantation, my farm. And for heck, up until Franklin Roosevelt, everyone just kind of did the tradition of only doing 2 terms until it became law after Franklin Roosevelt. But because before that, no one even tried.
Well, that's weird in itself.
What?
If it indeed is about power, then you'd think there would have been someone before that was like, hey, why do I have to leave after 2 terms?
Well, there is a lot to be said about peer pressure.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I do think that society runs on peer pressure as much as anything else.
Well, the mask wearing thing just proves that out to me.
What has become that? But it's also, I think also, if it's something that's I think for a lot of people, if it's something that's even minimally effective, efficacious, then more than enough people are willing to do it.
But people could believe it's efficacious even if it's not. I mean, as long as people believe it's efficacious, then they're gonna push it. But that might not be.
That's the age old thing, right? People think that government only runs on confidence, like any kind of social system, monetary system. It's all run on confidence. The only reason why it keeps going is because people think that it works.
And so, what if it doesn't work?
Does it even really matter, though?
I would say it would. It does matter if people are going down some route that's wrong. Because then at some point, shit's gonna just, not work anymore.
Okay, saying, for example, that there is actual objective right and wrong. What is wrong? What is right, for that matter?
Right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't know. I guess right would be for the common good.
Okay, but does common good mean for everybody?
The majority.
Okay, but what if you happen to be in the minority?
Then you're screwed.
And that's easy to say, right? That's easy to say as long as you're not in the minority.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk about how we're looking for how things that help the most people is the thing that should be done. Well, what if you're not going to be one of those people?
Then you are SOL.
Possibly, but we all see what happens. I remember we were watching some show, and that was the question. They were asking, I think there was some reporter asking some lesbians or something about, majority rule, and they were like, oh yeah, I believe the majority should rule. And I was like, but nobody should be able to tell me what to do. And I'm just sitting there going, that doesn't really compute.
It's counterintuitive.
It is. It's counterintuitive, but at the same time, it's totally acceptable. Everyone would feel that way.
So people are for the majority rule, but they want to have their own freedom.
No, they're for majority rule. I think it's like being scared of death, right? It's real easy to laugh in death's face until death sits right next to you and says, hi, how you doing? And at that point, you're just like, oh, let me change my mind a little bit here.
These things are weird.
Yeah.